Ex-Navy pilot who's seen UFOs in flight calls for investigations of aerial phenomena. We need to be curious. Ex-pilot Ryan Graves says others are reluctant to come forward with similar stories. Ryan Graves is a former Navy pilot who has called on Congress to investigate unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, also known as UFOs, in the skies above the United States. He spoke out on his first-hand experiences with UAPs in an interview with Fox News Digital. Graves spent about 11 years in the Navy flying F-18s, an advanced fighter plane, and was also a flight instructor. But throughout his career, he has yet to receive a definitive answer on a phenomenon that he and other members of his squadron dealt with for years. While I was in the Navy, myself and others in my squadron had an experience that continues to this day, and at first was something that we didn't have a name for, Graves said. Witnessed UFOs with his own eyes, calls on Biden to investigate. At first, objects showed up as contacts on our radar, contacts on our camera system, until eventually, Graves said, we were seeing these with our eyeballs. 2 aircraft from my squadron were flying side by side and one of these objects went right between their aircraft, he added. Graves said that his squad member described the object as a dark gray or black cube inside of a clear sphere. Graves called on Americans with preconceived notions about UAPs to come at the issue from a first principles approach. I think they need to separate the idea of something that's unknown from preconceived ideas like a UFO or ET hypothesis. We need to be able to agnostically, as a media, accept that there is uncertainty and look at it from a first principles approach. Because if we wrap it into all that context about little green men, we're going to be barking up the wrong tree, he said. Steven Spielberg concerned about secrecy, lack of transparency, around UFO sightings. Something is going on. Graves, now an advocate and founder of the organization Americans for Safe Aerospace, emphasized that these objects were, at times, strangely stationary but did not behave like tethered balloons. That was because, Graves said, these objects could also move at extremely high speeds. Eventually we would see these objects proceeding about 0.6 to 0.8 Mach on average, which is about 250 to 350 knots at those altitudes. And they would be either in some type of holding pattern or seemingly just proceeding in a single direction. Graves said that there were 2 basic explanations for what these objects could be. It's either going to be some type of adversarial platform and it's a matter for national security, or we don't know what it is, he said. And it's a matter for scientific inquiry and curiosity. We've been stymied to not have that scientific curiosity as of late, but that's the biggest thing that needs to change and is changing right now. If it's a national security matter, Graves said, then the course of action is clear. For our military and our national security, our ability to know what's over our heads is of critical importance. And if we don't know what it is, we need to be curious about it. Because we may have national security issues fall out of that anomalous bucket, Graves said. Once we start looking a little bit more closely into our airspace, some things are going to pop out that we weren't expecting to see. Graves said that the media coverage of UAP and UFO incidents, the existence of which Sen. Marco Rubio and others members of the government have acknowledged, still leaves a lot to be desired. Rubio, R. Florida, has said that UAPs are a risk to national security.